All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to have you here this evening. It is Jay Rene. I hope that y'all are doing well. I am representing Prison Riot Radio as well as Hip Hop Humanism Radio, and I have a very special guest. You've seen me speak with her before. I know you've probably seen her a lot of times in the news lately and before, especially with this election going on. We have Melina Abdullah here. Okay. I'll always be happy to have our ladies on, girl power. I'm a girl power type of girl, but we want to get to the meat and potatoes of what's going on when it comes to this election and her thoughts. So we're going to dive right in there. I'm going to bring her up. We're going to give y'all 30 seconds to prepare for this. So see you shortly. All right, we are back, and we have the most honorable, I will say, Vice President Candidate Melina Abdullah here. Can you hear me? Looks like I might have lost the picture of you again. We're going to work that out. Let's see here. I'm going to try to figure it out, what's going on with that. So I know that a lot of you have been watching what's going on with the election, and there are a lot of different thoughts and feelings going on. Being able to find a candidate that really represents you can be hard, and sometimes it can feel like you're picking from the lesser of the evils. But that isn't always the case when you take a closer look at those that are trying to become candidates and elected officials. Are you there? I can see your box, but I can't hear you. All right, she's going to work on that. Please forgive us for our technical difficulties. They do happen. They definitely do happen, but we're going to get it worked out. I know that she is on the move. Okay, she's definitely busy. So we're not going to keep her too long. Hopefully, we can get the logistics worked out. Sometimes, no matter how well we plan, we can still have some issues. But we're going to get her back in here and hopefully be able to connect with her. All right, there she goes. Let's bring her on up. All right, there you go. You back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I think what's happening is if my phone rings, it must mess up the.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I know that you're very busy, so I'm not going to keep you too long. I definitely appreciate you for pulling up and giving me an opportunity to talk with you a little more in depth about, what's going on with you and what's going on with the campaign. So definitely welcome. How are you?
that's a good question. I don't know. I think I'm okay. I feel blessed. Feel very blessed to have an opportunity to move some things. Yeah, yeah, that's how I
Okay.
feel. I feel
Blessed
blessed.
is a great word. That's a great way to feel. So that's a lot right there. So how has the campaign trail and everything like that, like how's that been so far?
Um, it's a very different campaign from what most people are used to kind of seeing when they think about people campaigning for the vice presidency, right? You think of um, big stages and donors and, you know, having to kiss babies. This is
Right.
different. Like this is a people power campaign. We have absolutely no money. And when I say no money, I mean I'm traveling on my own frequent flyer miles, right? Like we don't have money. We don't have a staff. We have a bunch of volunteers. We don't have consultants who are crafting things for us. Like
Right.
we just put out what do we want to do in our first 100 days um, of taking office. What do we want to do? And instead of like only coming up with it on our own, we kind of crowdsourced that. What do you want to see us do in our first 100 days, right? We're talking about what real justice looks like and reframing discussions around abolition. We are abolitionists, right? And so It's really, really a very different campaign. It's not one where we're seeking to, I always say, tinker around the edges of a
Mhm.
fundamentally unjust system. We want to transform those systems. So as we talk about like a prison system that descends from plantations, right? We want
Right,
to upend that completely. And we want to build new systems of public safety that actually keep our people safe, beginning with Black people. And any campaign consultant would tell you, don't say Black, right?
right,
Say,
right.
you know, I don't know, working people. They don't even want you to say working class people, right?
Mhm.
But we know that when Black people get free, everybody gets free. And so we have been moving very differently. The campaign trail is a very different campaign trail.
Okay.
Um, I'm convinced that the mainstream candidates are like biting our style. We did our fun,
Hey, they've been known to do that.
man. So I'm from Oakland originally,
Mhm.
and we just did a fundraiser up there, and we called it a grassroots fundraiser, and it was at my cousin's barbershop. Next
Okay.
thing you know, 4 days later, Trump's trying to do some event in a Black barbershop in Atlanta.
Right, right.
And
Now all of a sudden you
oh,
want to go to the
they
barber
saw that,
shop.
they did. Yeah, yeah. So it's very different. It's a very different campaign, but it's also really, really wonderful watching all our people come together. So I'm gonna
For
say
sure.
this and then I'll be quiet because I talk a lot.
That's all
I'm
right.
just coming from Costco. I was at Costco
Oh yeah.
earlier, and I saw this indigenous brother in Costco. And what was really great is he stopped me and he said, you know what I want to hear you talk about? I want to hear you talk about land back. I want to
Mhm.
hear you talk about indigenous people and getting our land back, and water rights and mineral rights and land rights for indigenous people. And that's what I mean by a different kind of campaign. The indigenous brother in Costco can stop me and say, this
Right.
is what I want. And as soon as I get home, we're going to figure out how to incorporate that more fully into our platform.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody that different doesn't mean bad. A lot of times if it's something different than what the norm is, it's like, oh, what's that? You don't have to be afraid of different. Different is good. I think different has brought about a lot of things that we enjoy now and see the benefit from. So I definitely appreciate that. And I think others are too when it comes to having someone that is in a place that's supposed to advocate for the people. They need to be from the people, and the people need to be able to feel like they can come to y'all and say, hey, this is what's going on, and really get a response and not get some generic response from that. So I think that that's highly appreciated. Speaking of the prisons, I've heard a lot about the things that you do for those that are in prison and stuff like that. And I wanted to definitely thank you for your contributions. Highly, hear about you. So we definitely thank you for that. Um, I wanted to also, dive into when you talk about not reforming a system that came from, slave patrols and things like that, but actually getting rid of that. A lot of times people are afraid of change, afraid of things that are different. So can you speak on that a little bit, exactly like more what that looks like and why people shouldn't be afraid of things being different than what they're used to?
Sure. Well, first I'll start with this. I don't know a single Black person who feels safer because the police roll up behind them in traffic. Nobody goes, "Ooh, I'm good now." Right? We
Right.
all try to
Like, oh,
figure
here
out
we
how
go.
to park it like it's hot, right?
Yeah.
And And I mean, I think that is intuitively, we know police don't keep us safe. We also know that we have folks who are in prison who don't deserve to be. And we know that putting people in prison, I was actually, when I was speaking up in Oakland, one of the things we talked about was, we have people on both sides of the equation, right, of so-called criminality, right?
Right.
People who are locked up, but Black people are also the group that is targeted the most by crime, impacted the most
Right.
by, right? So I was
Right.
thinking about my cousin Trish, because at our community conversation, it was a lot of my home boys and homegirls from that I grew up with, right? And I shared my cousin Trinice, who was killed when she was 19. I was like, we It didn't help just locking the person up who pulled the trigger. We want Trinice back. And from either side of the equation, that's what we want. We want our people to be safe. And we know the way to create safety is to have begin with our needs being met. If everybody has all of what they need and most of what they want, the data shows that only 3% of the so-called crime is violent crime. The rest, the other 97% of crimes are crimes of need that either come out of you needed to feed your family, or there was some sort of other issue that could have been solved differently, an addiction issue, a mental health issue, something like that. Just a very small percentage of so-called crime is one that doesn't relate to those issues. So if we can knock out 97% of the harms that are done in the world just by meeting people's needs, why not do that first? And so that's what I mean by new systems of public safety. We know that our folks sometimes respond to people in their own neighborhoods talking to them. When we did this community conversation, we did it near the Lake Merritt in Oakland. And there had just been a killing like 3 or 4 days before at the lake on Juneteenth. My brother was there and he saw the whole thing kind of brew and happen. What happened was this young man got jumped. First, it started with a fight, then he got jumped. And then he said, and my brother heard him say, I'm not just going to sit here and let myself get jumped. And then there was a shooting, right? Well, what if there had been community folks there to talk to him and go, hey, brother, that doesn't make you weak to walk away. Let's walk away. And it doesn't mean folks aren't going to be held accountable, but let's walk away to save your life and their life, right? We know that that's been successful in places like Newark, New Jersey, and places like Watts. And so those are the models that Dr. West and I want to implement when we talk about what public safety is. So we abolish these systems of harm that incarcerate our folks, that lock them up in cages. We abolish systems like policing that put targets on the backs of our folks. And we built new systems of care,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right with you on there. I don't think that you can reform something that was never made with the intention to do any real good. It just, doesn't make sense. So I definitely am on track with you there. And I think a lot of people are. I think just hearing the words kind of scare people. So I appreciate you for, breaking that down. I'm not going to keep you much longer, but I do want to give you an opportunity to present or discuss anything that you feel you might not have had an opportunity to, that people should know about, how you plan on, doing this vice presidency and just in general.
Sure. Jay Rene, where are you? Where are you based?
I'm in Delaware right now, but I move up and down. I kind of stay in the unknown because I don't ever want to dox myself. I be getting threats and stuff, so I'll be like, where's Wanda? I don't know where is she at.
Well, I believe that we're going to be on the ballot in Delaware. I think it hasn't been formalized yet, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be on the ballot in Delaware.
Nice.
So what I do need to lift up is that we're going to be on the ballot in probably half of the states, at least. We need everybody's help on getting on the ballot in more states. And so we want everybody to understand that we have an opportunity to really push for things we believe in. So Cornell West and I have a vision for this country and for this world, right? Right
Hmm.
now, this country spends 62 cents out of every dollar on the military.
Hmm.
And that means that we are spending your money and my money to bomb babies and mamas in Palestine. That's what our money is going to, right?
Hmm.
I think those dollars, if you spent just 10% of what they currently spend on the military, you could house everybody in this country. And I mean, everyone in this country
Right.
could have permanent housing. And the measure that we use is, would your mama live there? right?
Right.
So
Right.
we mean real housing. We don't mean tiny homes. We don't mean shelters. We mean real housing for everybody. We mean that we could educate everybody from pre-K through PhD. We could educate
Mhm.
everybody for free, right? And so we offer an opportunity for folks to get behind the things that I think we all believe in. And we want people to be courageous enough to say this is a turning point. Anybody who watched those fake debates on Thursday night where you had evil heavy and evil light, right?
Right.
With
Right.
no, you can't, we can't be voting for Trump or Biden, right?
Yeah.
And so we give you someone to vote for. And so the thing I would leave is this is a people's campaign, and we want everybody to be courageous enough to, I always say, vote your vision, not your fear, and help us to get on the ballot. So if you go to, again, cornellwest2024.com, cornellwest2024.com, and then you click on your state, you can see where we are in what we call ballot access, getting on the ballot. In California, we haven't made the ballot yet. So we have only 3 days left to get on the ballot in California. And people have to actually change their political parties. We're very close. It looks like we'll make the ballot in Georgia and Mississippi
Nice.
and in Delaware. We've made the ballot in 8 states, but we need everybody to help, to jump in, to help us, like by re-registering, but also help by volunteering. And so that's what I want to share. Um, that this is everybody's campaign. And while Dr.
Right.
West, my name would be on the ticket, it's for everybody.
For sure. I definitely know what I'll be clicking because I will be in Delaware, front and center. Making that vote is very important. I think some people are still believing that the vote doesn't matter, and it does. If you don't vote, it matters. Who you vote for matters. So I definitely appreciate having some candidates that are actually listening to the people or of the people, want to do for the people besides their own, political agenda. So that's definitely appreciated. I appreciate you for taking this time. I know you're very busy, but I thank you. And the people definitely, I know, will appreciate it for sure.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all your work. Thank you
Yes,
for all
ma'am.
your work.
It's my
All right,
destiny. I got to. I couldn't do nothing else. I couldn't
that's
do
right.
nothing else.
Right.
All
All
right,
right.
sister.
Peace.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right, peace. All right, well, that was a good one. I hope that some of the questions that some of you may have had have been answered. You heard what she said about getting it on the ballot in your state. All right, Cornell West 2024, I believe she said is the website. You can run that back and find out for sure. But you definitely want to make sure you're doing that. All of my Delawareans, if you have an opportunity to vote and you see that name on the ballot, definitely go ahead and vote for it. She says she's of the people. Her and Dr. Cornell West are on the same accord, and it's time to have someone in office that cares about us, the people. All right, y'all have a great one. It's been a pleasure. It's your girl, Jay Rene.